What is that falling out of the sky?
What is falling out of the sky?
Good day, mister. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Prince Henry of Galouche. I've been sent here to get a quick tour of this phenomenal manor. Will you be able to show me around?
Well, pleased to meet you, Prince Henry of Galouche. I am glad that you have arrived. My name is Mr. Gilberton Genovano, but you can call me Mr. Gilbert for short. Don't worry, he's a very scared person, but he will be all right. This way, please.
I am pleased to be here. Now tell me, what are the medieval times?
But you are in the medieval... The medieval times was a long period in history. It was set in Europe in 500 to 1500 AD. This was a time of castles, peasants, monasteries, cathedrals, and crusades. Where you are now is called the manor village. A medieval manor is a large piece of land owned by the feudal lords or directly by the kings. The feudal system was a way that the manor lords organized their lands in order to produce agricultural goods. The feudal system, in the majority of the times, provided people with safety by establishing stable social order.
Within the medieval times, the Roman Empire fell. The medieval times were filled with lords, knights, servants, damsels, peasants, serfs, priests, and cottagers. Everyone had different ranking in the feudal system. This means that they also had different jobs and responsibilities. Well, now that you have a head start, let's look around the manor village.
Whoa, what is that ginormous building over there?
That is the manor house. That is the house of the Lord. It is the biggest building here inside the manor village. It's built on a hill as far away as possible from the peasants.
Why is it built on a hill? Is it to defend or even attack other lands? And why is it built so far away from the peasants? Does the Lord hate them? But why? They are the ones who produce the goods, right? The Lord should be thankful.
Prince Henry, I command you to shut up as I am the supreme supervisor of this manor. Anyways, most of the manors are built on a hill. This shows superiority and power to the individuals who are below the Lord in the feudal system. However, this is not the case in some manor villages. Not all manor houses are located in a hill. This is also similar to its high walls. The high walls is not to defend or attack, but to show off the Lord's wealth and power amongst everyone.
All lords would seek to impress other members of the nobility, and the grander the manor, the more self-important a lord might feel. Even the entrance to your manor was designed to make a statement about your importance.
This manor house is made out of stone as the lord of the land is quite wealthy. If a lord was less wealthier, they would have their manor house built out of wood, as that was cheaper.
May we go inside and enjoy the spectacular rooms of this manor house?
After you, Prince Henry.
How many rooms did they have in there?
A lot.
What type of rooms?
Well, they had the solar room, a private living area for the lords and senior women for relaxing and dining in. The Great Hall, a large hall with many decorations and beautiful windows, usually with a large fireplace used for meetings and sometimes even cooking. The kitchen, an area where they would cook their meals, had large ovens and fireplaces to cook. The pantry, a place where short-lasting food was stored. The storerooms, where most of the items were stored. The buttery, where the beverages were provided and stored. And the chapel, where people were prayed for.
Whoa, that was a lot of rooms. Are there any other people living in the manor house?
The Lord's wife, kids, servants, and knights all lived there.
Well, that's a lot of people living in the manor house. Where did they sleep? All those who worked in the manor house slept in the hall, except for the lord and his family who retired to the solar at night. Who is that? Why is he dressed so extra and why is he walking so slow?
That is the Lord. Medieval clothes provided information about the status of the person wearing them. Their clothes were made of silk, velvet, and damask. Bright colors were worn. Fur was used for linings or trimming. Linen or silk was used for undergarments. In the winter, women wore undergarments of fur to keep warm. Undergarments were covered by a gown. Women also wore high headdresses shaped like hearts, butterflies, etc. Men wore trousers covered by long coats called tunics. Both men and women wore jewelry. Stone cutting had not yet been invented, so whole gemstones were used. Rings and pins were the most popular items. Fancy clothes were a status symbol. Laws were passed that forbade peasants from wearing fancy clothes, which they couldn't afford anyway. Let me introduce you to him. Dear Lord, this is a curious prince, wanting to know about our manor.
Pleasure to meet you, my lord. I am Prince Henry from Galouche. So, could you tell me about your daily life?
In the morning, I wake up at dawn. My day always begins with prayers. I'm a Catholic, if you would like to know. I attend business matters about lands, crops, supplies, and finances, such as taxes, rents, customs, and dues. I usually spend most of my time doing political discussions and decisions. In the afternoon, I perform my mid-morning prayers in the church. Then I go hunting, hawking, and inspecting the estate like I'm doing right now. The evening begins with another prayer, followed by a supper in the manor house. After the supper, we begin the entertainment, such as music, dancing, and acrobats. Right before going to bed, I do some more prayers and finish off my day. Well, it was nice talking to you, Prince Henry. Now, Gilbert, may you please take him out of my house?
Yes, Lord. This way, Prince Henry. Now these are the people that provide us with service and protect us. The knights! The knights are brave men who have been granted a title of knight, which they must uphold. They are loyal to the Lord. The knights are here to serve and protect. They participated in jousts, duels, and when the manor has been reached, they attack with their weapons.
It's a foreigner! Attack! Must capture! Capture! Capture!
No! No! Let him go!
No, God may decide if he is guilty or not for walking on wrong land.
Yes, we shall go to the Roman Catholic Church.
This is the church, by the way. The church, being the only organization left standing after the fall of Rome, becomes the central institution of the Middle Ages. The church served the social, political, and religious needs of the people. The church is the cultural center of the manor. Majority of the people who attend church are peasants, as their only hope is their religion to pray for their God, that their next life will not be as miserable as the one they're living now.
Whoa, well that is steep. Does the Pope live here in the church as well?
The Pope is in charge of the Roman Catholic Church. The priests in the Middle Ages were exempted from paying taxes because their work was considered noble. Priests in the early Middle Ages did not dress differently from the local people. However, in the 5th century following the fall of the Roman Empire, the church started to regulate clergy dressing. Priests were then required to don a tunic, also known as an alb, which flowed down to their feet. This would distinguish them from the layman who dressed in trousers and walked bare feet. The priest had a special place in society. He presided over baptisms and weddings, and he usually was the sole source of education. Then there were the archbishops, who supervised the bishops and elected popes. You then have the bishops, who supervised the priests and settled disputes over church teachings and practices. The priests administrated the sacraments, so confessions, baptisms, and so on. The priests also gave advice and taught about wrong and right. Lastly, you have the monks and nuns, who separate from the normal life in the village and devote their life to prayers and good works. They might teach skills like carpentry and weaving, often set up hospitals and give shelter to travelers, and these were also the missionaries of their day.
Gilbert, that's really interesting and nice of you to explain, but this is so uncomfortable. Let me go! I've done nothing wrong!
God will decide that.
Hello. Let's see if you're a bad person. Oh, hello, Gilbert.
Hello, Pope. This man is very innocent. I've been touring him all day. He came from out of the sky.
Very well. I believe you, Gilbert. Now, knight, let him go.
Yes, Pope!
Thank you so much, Gilbert.
It was a pleasure. I don't like seeing people get hurt. Now let's continue the tour.
Here we have our peasant homes. Remember, they're not the most eloquent of homes, as the people that live there work for us.
What are these houses made of?
They're usually made out of wood or branches covered with mud or straw. Follow me and I'll show you. Watch out for your shoes! These floors are made out of dirt. As you can see, the things this house contains are chairs, tables, chests, and candles are used to light the house. They have 2 rooms. The common room, where in the winter animals stay there. Fireplace is also there, and a room where everyone sleeps.
What happened to these windows?
Since peasants are poor, they can't afford glasses, so their windows are basically small holes inside their house.
What are you doing in my house?
Do not raise your voice at us, you porky peasant! Now you must tell the springs here about your daily life.
So, most of us are just farmers, but some are tradesmen, millers, or tavern owners.
How do you get paid for all your work?
We get a roof to live and provide food for our families. We get leases, land from the king, and pay taxes to the lord and king. Well, if you excuse me, I must get back to work now.
Hey, watch where you're going. Those crops took us months to perfect, just so you can eat them and we can sell them and gain a little money.
Excuse you? Do you know who you're talking to? I am a prince. You are a low-class farmer.
I'm giving a tour. Have a little respect. Don't you like farming?
It is long hours and so much work just to make crops that are eaten by upper-class folks like you. We don't even get a piece of the gratitude. We have to do this for our families.
Exactly. You have to do this. Be respectful. Otherwise, you will lose your job and your family won't get any money or food.
Do all the peasants get treated this way?
Oh, don't worry. They don't.
Yes, we do!
What are your source of entertainment? Go on, Porky Peasant. Answer this prince's question. Fine. Well, if we have time, we get a drink like wine or beer from the tavern or we brew them ourselves. Music and dance is also popular, although we can't really afford professional musicians other than tossing a coin or so to a street performer. Hunting and fishing were great fun. Well, at least for me. Yes, it is to gather food, but was also something people did for enjoyment. Well, that's all I do for entertainment. Now please, if you will excuse me.
Now, let's go on to our next location. You farmers keep on working.
I'm so hungry.
Don't worry, we have a bakehouse right ahead of us.
What's a bakehouse?
You don't know what a bakehouse is? It's simply a bakery where you can get bread. As there was a steady increase in trade, the bakers began to set up a business. Bakers' guilds, a medieval association of craftsmen or merchants often having considerable power, were introduced to protect the interests of members and to regulate controls governing the price and weight of bread. Bread was the most important component of the diet during the medieval era. The upper classes ate a type of bread called manchet, which was a bread loaf made out of wheat flour. The lower classes ate rye and barley bread. The different types of bread made from wheat were as follows. Here, have some bread. Now, here we have our pride and joy, a windmill.
What is a windmill?
I thought you would have known. Don't you have one where you come from?
Of course we do. I just want to make sure that you know.
Well, okay. A windmill was used for grinding corn into flour. That the inhabitants of the manor usually have to take their own corn to the lord's mill. Exclusive possession of the manorial mill was one of the privileges that the manorial lords generally managed to arrogate to themselves.
Right!
Let me show you around our pride and mill.
One eternity later.
Why does the man have a sword? Is he also a knight?
Oh, him? No, not even close. He's just a blacksmith working on his forge.
A blacksmith?
Hey you, come over here and explain your job to Prince Henry.
Well, I'm the blacksmith of this village.
I think we figured that out by now. Give us more details.
Yeah, what do you do?
Well, the place that I work in is called the forge. Over here, I mainly make weapons and instruments for this manor. Like right now, I am making a sword for the knights.
So, how do you actually make this stuff?
I first place the hot metal onto the anvil and start hammering it to get it into shape. The usual manufacturing techniques are either hammering or heating the metal.
What kind of customers do you get?
All kinds, from common people to the nobility. The common people usually want farming tools and household materials, whereas the nobility and knights usually come for weapons. I also supply the church with doors, doorknobs, and nails. Usually there are only one blacksmith per village, so I have quite a lot of work to do, if you'd excuse me.
This is our last stop, Prince Henry. This is the tavern. Have you been in any taverns in your life?
I don't think I've ever been in one. What is it in the first place?
Wow, you must be living under a rock then. A tavern is a place of business where people gather to drink alcoholic beverages and be served food. People specifically drink and have a good time in the tavern. Both men and women villagers, including peasants, go to the tavern, including quarrels, accidents, and acts of violence, sometimes followed by a session of drinking.
What is that noise?
Ah, you've been bamboozled.
You're a Viking?
Call me Henry the Viking.
Oh no! So many Vikings!
Thank you so much for the tour. Now my army knows where to go and invade this manor. Hasta la vista!